Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday night. We are ready for some playoffs in the great state of Oklahoma. Hope everyone's doing well. We are streaming. Ooh, I forgot comments. Let's see here. Thank you, Chris. I got them set up. I gotta make sure my comment button works. Crazy sound. Uh-oh. Audio is weird. Comment. Stand by. Alright, let's see here. Is it sounding better? Let's go live. Ah!
Okay, this should be way better. Hopefully, I'm about to find out myself. Should be a lot better. Okay, this should be... Okay, I don't know what that was all about. Give me 1 second here to get everything. That is weird. I've been so lucky with all the equipment that you just plug it in and start going. So I don't know what happened, but nonetheless, let me get everything reorganized here. High School Huddle, view the channel, turn the external on, turn the comments on. Facebook's probably freaking out, wondering what's going on over there. View that. Turn the comments back on for the High School Huddle, week 10K. Go to Facebook. Thank you, guys. Thanks for letting me know. That did sound horrible. I just replugged. I didn't even have to start the computer over. Usually you have to start the computer over, but I didn't even have to do that. So let me go to the High School Huddle Facebook page. There are probably 25 of these I need to delete. Let's see here. Delete. Here in a second, we'll let move the trash. Yes, move. Move this to trash. Yes. Give me 1 second, guys. I apologize. This is what I do before I go on the air. Move the trash. Move. Huddle. Mute. One more step. Almost done, I promise. This is a false start. False start. Go back here. Edit this. Edit. Post. Copy, paste. Okay, next. Save. Facebook, comments, week 10, and turn those on. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Now what I was getting ready to do is check the comments here. Crazy sound. I think think he's restarting the TikTok. Yes, same. Sounds like excited by Irish. Okay, we'll let T. Fred be the first comment. Is the comments going to work? Comment? And call information. I don't know why that doesn't save. Comments number 10. Minimize. Stream Deck's not working. Okay, I'm not. That's the least of my worries. I'll just read your comments out loud. Okay, let's get started. Apologize, guys. Thank you, Kelly, Chris, T. Fred. All right, we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Let me get my playoff brackets back in here, and then we can look at those. We'll bring the TikTokers over here in just a second. I had all these in perfect order too. My OCD will not let me not have it in perfect order. So 6A1, 5A. Make this big now. We'll get started. 5A. 3A. Where's 4A? There's 4A. 4, 3, 2A1, 2A2, A1, A2. Okay, like we just got started. Okay. Is Stream Deck a USB connection? Sometimes it's helped to unplug and plug it back in. Yeah, I was going to make sure I unplug the right one. Usually I use vMix. I love vMix. And vMix likes everything to be plugged in. Okay. Unplug the Stream Deck, plug it back in, hit comments. No, I would have to restart the computer. I ain't doing that. So we'll just do this old school ways and talk out loud on the comments. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. How is everybody doing? It is Sunday night. High school football regular season is done. There were some teams that with not very good records in the playoffs. Teams with some pretty good records did not make the playoffs, including Poto in 4A football. Crazy. 7-3 and do not make the playoffs. Every game matters in district. That's why those coaches take it so serious every single game to get those 15 district points. But Hilldale beating Poto was big a couple weeks ago. And then in the same breath, you look at 6A2 football. Northwest Classen, 2-8 overall record. They lost to Lawton Ike, they beat Lawton Ike 32-28. That was huge, and they beat Western Heights earlier this year. So Northwest Classen got beat by Choctaw 72-0 to clinch their playoff spot. Lawton Ike was 0-9 going into their game last week. And they had to win by 7 points or more to qualify for the playoffs. And they won the game, but they only won it by 1 point, 21-20, to allow Northwest Classen to go on to the playoffs. That is crazy, crazy. So I will have those brackets here in just one brief moment, and we can talk that. Here in just a second, we will get our folks over on TikTok. Let me get them started here. Once I get TikTok started, we can only go for about 1 hour or so. TikTok, you don't stop. This was all ready to go, I promise you, I guess I need to test the audio next time. I noticed my UV meter, one was going higher than the other. And I was like, I've never seen that before. That explains why it was bad. So, okay. Here come the TikTokers. Grant Oliver, Fighting Phils versus the Fighting T-Freds. Yeah. 5A football. Man, oh man. I am so 5A football and Class A football, those are the two classes that I think are just going to be fun to watch. Here come your TikTokers. Here they come. Yeah. 5A and A. Cannot wait. Hello, everybody. We are here overtime with Chris Evans. We are getting set for the first week of the playoffs. I was at the studio today, did a podcast with Tony Johnson. He has Keep It 100. I spent about an hour and a half with him today breaking down the brackets and talking with that. So I think he usually puts those out on Mondays. And after I did that podcast with him today, I went through every 11-man football class and broke down. I did my top 10 and looked at the brackets, and we can definitely do that again here. TikTok, you probably won't. You might be able to see the brackets, but it might be kind of ugly looking to you. So it might be the Facebookers and the YouTubers might only get to see those. So Chris Frost, how does the head-to-head of U.S. Grant beating Northwest Classen not make them ahead of Northwest Classen, irrespective of the margin points? And then Ike beats U.S. Grant. I guess it's the way. Three-way tie uses points. Yep, that's exactly right. A lot of three-way ties. That's exactly what happens. So to kind of break that down exactly, U.S. Grant, Northwest Classen, Lot Nike 1 and 6. U.S. Grant. Yeah. Because the U.S. Grant, Grant Oliver's U.S. Grant Generals beat my Northwest Classen Knights 36-34, but Northwest Classen gets it despite losing 72-0. So, all right. So we are streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and on TikTok. So appreciate everyone checking us in. So here we go. I guess the big story. One of the big stories last week in Week 10 was the lights going out in Cashin, Oklahoma. It was Cashin comes back and scores a huge touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it at 36-36. And then they line up to kick it off, and the lights go out. Transformer blue. They waited about 20-25 minutes and realized the lights were not going to come back on. Of course, this is a district championship on the line, too. So they just couldn't they had to get the game in, and they decided to get on the bus with the shoulder pads, everything on, and go to Crescent, Oklahoma, 15 miles up the road. And Crescent had Hooker that night, and so they turn the lights off and go home. And they call Crescent and say, "Hey, can we use your phone or your field for the final 36 seconds? Or 29 seconds, and we're headed to overtime." And so they got over there about an hour after the lights went out. It was overtime, and Cashin got the football first, got down to the 1, and could not get in. Got, I think, a penalty, pushed them back, kicked the field goal. They go up 3, and then Fairview gets it, and they get to the 1-yard line, I think, on the first down. And then they pretty much walked into the end zone for the victory. And Fairview is the district champions in A1. Finishing second is Hooker, and Cashin finishes third. A1 and A3 football are really, really good districts this year with 3 really good teams in each one of those districts, and that's why the bracket will show that here in a little bit as well. The other big game of Vian on the road at Valiant takes it to Valiant. Vian, a really, really good team. Mason Wright, a really, really good team, and that game was over by halftime. So, not surprising. Valiant won. They're really, really good, and they'll have a chance to win a state championship. There's no doubt. So Valiant loses the first game of the season. Grant Oliver, the Demons get to try and snap the losing streak before they hit 50. Yes, and everyone else can jump on the I see your prior questions. Keep them coming. I was on the Duncan bandwagon before it ever started. I'm sure the Duncan players, coaches, booster club members all had Duncan in the playoffs at the beginning of the year. I also had Duncan in the playoffs at the beginning of the year as well. If memory serves me right, I think it's the first time in 5 years that Duncan has been in the playoffs. So congratulations to them. Coach Terry's done a great job. I think he's in his 3rd year. Got a good quarterback in senior Sawyer Rice, a 4-year starter. The offensive line, fairly young, but they got it done in 5A1, which was fun as well. 5A1 came down to the final week of play before for the top 3 spots. Lawton MacArthur needed to win by 10 or more points, and they get it done on the road at Bishop McGuinness, winning that. So Lawton MacArthur, the number 1 seed, and it was almost looking like maybe Lawton MacArthur would be going to Guthrie for a first-round contest for the 3rd year in a row. But Lawton MacArthur with the big victory. That's one of the big victories for Lawton Mac in last 2 or 3, at least 3 years, as far as their biggest win. They've been in some ball games, just haven't been able to come through, but they come through at Bishop McGuinness. So we'll talk about it here in a little bit, but now in 5A, you have 9-1 Bishop McGuinness on the road. So Northwest Classen goes 2-8 in getting in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Poto 7-3. They don't make the playoffs. Bishop McGuinness is 9-1 and has to go on the road for the playoffs. So it is crazy. And so I was asked today by Tony. He doesn't like that that scenario, like Northwest Classen getting in and Poto's not. And I think that's the best. I think it's, you have all your districts and the top 4 teams in each district qualify for the playoffs. And that leaves it on the field. That takes the human element out of it, where you don't have coaches helping other coaches. Hey, if you give me this ranking, I'll give you this ranking. You'll get in. The way that it's set up now, it's done on the field. And so it's up to the coaches when they start aligning these districts up when they meet, which they'll be doing that here pretty soon, to line the districts up as best as they can. The other thing that has come up that could be interesting is once you get your final 16 teams, like right now, do you look at reseeding 1 through 16? And so 1 would play 16, just like the basketball tournaments, 2 versus 15, 3 versus 14, and so forth. That's an interesting conversation, but how do you determine 1 through 16? Do you bring the human element back in it? And that can go sideways a little quick there. So I think for what it is, it's probably the best system we have. But it's an interesting discussion. We might be able to talk about it a little bit more in depth on Wednesday. So that would be interesting. Kelly, Cash and Wildcat. It was unreal. It was the most fun with everyone in the dark with flashlights. Yeah, we were. I'm part of the Guthrie broadcast, and we were in Lawton. Guthrie won big in Lawton. We were coming back. We were watching a little bit of the game in the press box, breaking down equipment. Got in our van. Thank you, Generation Shirts, for sponsoring our trips for all of our staff and for our equipment. But we were watching that game, waiting for it to restart. Then it finally came back. The stream did, and so yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch. Chris Frost, the shuffle of 5A1 was wild from the Week 10 finishes. Yeah, it was. All three teams had a chance to be district champions, so it was great. Grant Oliver Bishop is a tough matchup for Guthrie. Should be a really good game. Yeah, it will be. I mean, Guthrie and McGuinness have been in the district for many, many years, and Bishop McGuinness has won a pretty good amount of those games with Guthrie. I saw the only time I really truly watched Bishop McGuinness this year was against Duncan. I can't remember. We were off that night. I think it might have been fall break. They might have played on Friday. But that's really the only full game I've seen with Bishop McGuinness. So it will be interesting. I can tell you right now, Guthrie is playing really, really good football. We know defensively they do a good job of stopping the run. Offensively, Guthrie's got 7 guys that can run the football at any time and do a great job with that. Wide receivers are making plays. Dalen Rice, the junior quarterback, he can run the ball, and he's been very accurate as of late too. That's been a really good thing for Guthrie in their last 3 ball games. I mean, they have been rocking and rolling offensively. And then the offensive line Dalen hasn't been sacked, hasn't been pressured, and the running game, the Guthrie line has done really good. So Guthrie's playing really, really good football right now. And yet they draw 9-1 Bishop McGuinness. So it would be, I totally agree with Grant. It's going to be a big ball game. Not to geek out. I'm going to get to all the comments, I promise. Not to geek out, but I think when you look at the 8 games in 5A football, I think there's 5 games that are complete toss-ups. I think three of them are pretty heavy favorites to win the game. But I think there's 5 of the 8 games that are pretty darn good. That boy Joe 19. Do you know in South Carolina? No, I don't know anything about South Carolina except for they have a very popular beach that a lot of people go to. South Carolina Gamecocks. And Beamer's the head coach. That's about all I know about South Carolina. Chris Devine, Guthrie will beat McGinnis. And Chris says, I was hoping Altus would have done better against Carl. Yeah, me too. So with Altus, I think Guthrie and Altus played an overtime game in the Mud Bowl on that Saturday afternoon. I think the Mud probably benefited Altus the most in there. Guthrie wasn't able to get a pass rush much against Jamin Reed and with the muddy field. And so I think Guthrie was grounded a little bit due to the mud. It was equal for both teams, but Altus throws it every single time. And, of course, the wide receivers know where to go, and the DBs are kind of reacting. So I think the Mud Bowl may have helped Altus a little bit. I say that to say this. It was a completely dry field at Altus. I talked to Coach Dunn over the weekend, and he said Altus, the stadium was packed. The Rock was packed, and you couldn't find an empty seat in that stadium. So I think to be honest with you, I thought Carl Albert would handle it the way they did. And this is Altus at Newcastle. Wow. I think this is, I think it went like I thought it would be between Carl Albert and Altus. But Altus goes on the road this week to Newcastle. We'll have a fight. That's an interesting matchup. Newcastle likes to run the ball. Altus likes to throw the ball. And like some other teams, Sand Springs or somebody else. I think Sand Springs, Altus, maybe I can think of it here in a second. But I think those two, there's another team. I think those teams, Pryor, the Pryor Tigers. We'll get to Pryor. Those are the 3 teams that this is the year. Not that they can't come back and be competitive again, because they will, but this is the year for them to really win now. Altus, number 4, number 6, a couple of defense players are seniors. Good news for Altus. Reed is a freshman. He'll be back, but he's losing a lot of players around him with this senior class. Pryor and Sand Springs, this is the year. And they are very capable of winning state championships. Talking about Pryor and Sand Springs. Sand Springs hasn't won a state championship since 1966. They won their first ever district championship this past Friday with the victory over Sapulpa. That's their first district title since 1997. So, Easton Webb's the quarterback for Sand Springs. So this is their year. This is their year. Grant says, give me Newcastle by 28. Yeah, I think the running game for Altus will be the deciding factor, or running game for Newcastle, will be the deciding factor. If they can run the football, I think that keeps the Reed kid off the field. And there's, Altus is going to score some points, and so I think Newcastle's running game will win out on that one. Chris Talbot, Carl Albert's just stacked in the second and third string, has gotten a lot of reps as well as this year. Going to be interesting playoffs. Yeah, Carl Albert, this is the year. I mean, they're going to get even better next year. Matthews is going to be the running back. Elijah Matthews is going to be a senior, and they got a bunch of kids coming up. So Carl Albert, I don't know if you call them down this year. They're not down compared to last year, but I think next year they'll be better than this year, which is crazy to think about that. Justin McKinney, Buffs been rolling 6 in a row. Defense has been good all year. Offense starting to click. Go Buffs. They have. So McAllister, if you haven't been following 5A3 football, Shawnee's out of the playoffs. Durant's out of the playoffs. Bishop Kelly sneaks in there. Booker T. Washington finishes 3rd on the road at Del City. I think there's going to be a few athletes on the field on that one. McAllister finishes 2nd. Started off 0-4. So they played, Coweta was their first district game. They played Broken Bow, Podo, and Ada, I think, to begin the season for first-year head coach Jeff Craig. They go 0-4. Then they win 6 in a row. And 6 of those, some of those games weren't teams that weren't very good, but they did beat Booker T. Washington, who has been kind of up and down, but that was a very quality, good win for them. Shawnee is kind of hit and miss. You never know what you're going to get from them. And they also beat Durant this past week. So, yeah, and I've watched them a couple of times. I watched them against Booker T. Washington. They are very, very good. So, no doubt they got a very good ball club. Chris Frost, Elgin won the Battle of the Wichitas against Cash. I think Elgin versus Cash was 21-21 for the 42 times have played before. Oh, yeah. If I remember right, Cash got into the playoffs, if I remember correctly. So Elgin, we're going to look at these brackets here in a minute. But that second round playoff game is going to be big time for Elgin. We'll see it here in a second. Chris Talbot, agree. Buffs had a rough start, but they're getting hot at the right time. Hope to see Carlbert versus McAllister, or CA versus McAllister game. Yeah. That, you know what? I didn't even look at. To be honest with you, Talbot, I looked at, this is not good, but I got to be honest with you. I looked at Carlbert in the semis against Pryor, so they would have to get past McAllister. You're right. I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry, but that's just being honest with you. But yeah, that would be fun. Of course, McAllister would go on the road at Carl Albert. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. Guthrie has gone to McAllister in years past for a playoff game. When was the last time Carl Albert and McAllister played each other? Let's see here. Head to head. 48 consecutive victory team is the Carl Albert Titans. McAllister. 2022 in the state championship game. Okay. In fact, every time Carl Albert and McAllister played have all been in the playoffs. So 2022, 2019, 16, and 13. McAllister won in 2013, 52-13, but Carl Albert has won the last 3. 49-7, 38-7, 42-26. Went to the Hook. Man, I had a good time at McAllister. We were there a few years ago for a playoff game, and it was good. Mentioned someone earlier was mentioning about the good player at McAllister. His name was Eric McCarty. Eric McCarty. Let's see here. Grant Elver, my guess is Pryor District goes 4-0 against the other district. Ooh. Let me think about this. Claremore, Coweta. That's the 4-1 matchup. Coweta runs the ball good. Brock Hillman. I think he's a junior too. I like him. By the way, I could see 5A4 winning all 4. I like Coweta in that game. Collinsville's a 3 seed, taking on McAllister, the 2 seed. I like McAllister in that one. Kelly's the 4, Pryor's the 1. I definitely like Pryor in that one. We'll get to Pryor in a second. I've seen a lot of comments mentioning Pryor over on the TikTok. We'll get those here in a second. Coweta, McAllister, Booker T. Wow, Booker T, Del City. So I got to watch a good part of that Pryor game with Del City. I think Del City wins that game. Grant, I got 5A3 winning 3 of the 4. We completely disagree. Yeah, I think I like Del City. I think they got a few more weapons than Booker T. Just a little bit more. Okay, so Cash missed out due to Elk City winning. Boy, that's another big story. So found out through I didn't message my OSSAA folks today to get I might have to do that tomorrow, so that way there's no guessing on it. My understanding is Clinton played with an ineligible player against Douglas and self-reported it, is what was told to me from my Total people. I talked to some Total people thinking they would know the scenario, and that's what I was told, but nothing official. That Clinton played with an eligible player, self-reported it, and therefore instead of finishing second in the district, that puts them down to number 4, playing Tuttle in the first round. Weatherford was going on the road. Now they're hosting a first-round playoff game. Grant says he hears Clinton is appealing. Grant would know this stuff. So is that kind of line up what everyone's been hearing about the Clinton situation as far as ineligible player and maybe self-reporting and now appealing that decision? Grant says 2-2. So I think we're going back to 583, 504. I'm next here. Yes, exactly right. Okay. Thank you, Grant. That's the way I understood it. I didn't get it confirmed through people who make the final decisions. And so I didn't want to bother them on Sunday. I bother them all the time with questions. So got a conference call tomorrow with OSSAA and the NFHS network. Let's see. So 583 versus 584 real quick. One more time. So Coweta won the district. I think Coweta wins that game. McAllister finishes second. They got Collinsville. McAllister's playing really, really good. Really good right now. I'm going to go McAllister. So I'm 2-0 there. 5-8. Booker T. Washington finished third. I'm going Del City. There's 3 victories there. And then Pryor is going to dominate Bishop Kelly. So I'm going 3-1, 5-8-3, 3-1 against 5-8-4. Going back real quick, 5A football. I think Lawton MacArthur, I think Carl Albert and Pryor will be comfortable in their victories. So that's 3 games out of the 8. The other 5. Good luck to everybody because it can go either way in all 5 of those games in 5A football. That's why it is so daggum good in 5A football in A. No, 2-2. You keep 2-2. Oh, I'm not thinking. My bad. Yes. Del City's 5A4. My bad. 2-2. Sorry, Grant. I got too many comments. I can't put them on the screen. Yes, 2-2. Dadgone it. I just know my Northwest class and Knights got into the playoffs over U.S. Grant. So, okay. Let's see what the cool kids over on TikTok are talking about here. What do you think about 2A District 2? Get that here in a second. What happened with Clinton? Mad Max, hopefully you heard the explanation on Clinton. Billy, man, I tell you, a lot of things that we do on the High School Huddle on this page, we talk all the classes, but I tell you, 5A football is the most popular school on here when we do top 10 rankings and all this stuff. 5A has all the questions and views. So I love it. That's my favorite class, but I can talk any class with you. So Pryor and Carl Albert, you guys, I don't know if you saw my top 10. I did the video today. I haven't put them out yet, but I did put the top 10 rankings out. My regular season final rankings, I had Carl Albert number 1. I had Pryor number 2. And to be honest, and Guthrie number 3. Del City number 4. And Lawton MacArthur at number 5. To be honest with you, when I did the 5A rankings a good part of the year, I wanted to put Pryor at number 2 because I thought they were better than Del City. But Del City has been consistent over the last few years. This year, in fact, when Pryor and Del City played the last 2 years, Del City had won by combined 77 points. So I felt like Del City should be in that number 2. But in my mind this year, kind of like Tuttle, I think should be number 1 in 4A football. I know Elgin's undefeated, been dominant. I think, and so has Tuttle. I just think they're better this year. We'll see, hopefully. But I really thought Pryor was number 2. I thought Guthrie was probably the 3rd best team, but I was like, we'll see. When they played Carl Albert 47-42, I really thought Guthrie deserved that number 3 spot. I don't want to come across as a homer as well, so Guthrie probably didn't benefit me from doing the top 10, but I thought Guthrie was the number 3 team. Now that all the games are in, that's the way I really, really, truly feel. I know T-Fred was not happy with me putting McGinnis at number 7. They're 9-1 on the year, but they finished 3rd in the district, so the rankings probably should be number 3 in the district. I had MacArthur number 5, Newcastle number 6, and McGinnis number 7. I think I had Booker T and McAllister out of the top 10. Those 2 teams worthy of top 10. I went back and forth with Collinsville and Altus. I kept Collinsville and I kept Altus in the top 10. But I really, really was trying to find a place with McAllister. 6 in a row. Altus, they're the two toughest teams on their schedule. They lost 2. So if you want to put McAllister in there, I would totally agree with that. Totally would agree with that. Brady Scott, thoughts on Poto getting knocked out of the playoffs? It's the shocker. I don't know if I can do it tonight or maybe tomorrow, but Poto not making it. They're 7-3. I don't know if any other team out there had a better record that did not make the playoffs. That was the big shocker. And not only did Poto lose to Hilldale beat him by 2 scores. 2 scores. That was mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. Hilton is doing really good and got a home playoff game this Friday. Sure are. We'll talk about that in a second. Mad Max, hopefully you heard about Clinton again. Got that in there. So back to 5A real quick. I got Carl Albert number 1, Pryor number 2, state semifinals. It could be that way unless McAllister wants to get do something crazy, or maybe a Newcastle Altus. But I think those are the 2 best teams. Pryor, I don't know if anybody's gotten to watch Pryor a lot this year. I've watched them a lot. Braden Ward, the quarterback, senior, throws it left-handed. He is so accurate. He throws the ball accurate. He's got wide receivers that can go and get it. He also has a very, very good running back. What is his name? Surely I wrote it down. Carson Hughes. He had 193 rushing yards against Dale City on 13 carries. So they run the ball well, they throw the ball well, and they are extremely creative in their offensive play calling. And their defense might not be the best defense in 5A football. There's probably a few teams that do have better defense, but you better score some points and keep up with them. And because they're going to put points on the board. So creative in their play calling. So Pryor's fun to watch, guys. If you haven't watched them, their channel's on YouTube. Just look up Pryor Tigers, and they are a fun watch. Okay, Pryor versus Dell City. Yep, just got done talking about that. Hopefully you got to hear that. Going to be a battle. Now Guthrie's good. Should have beat Carl Albert. Yeah, Guthrie had their chances to win it. That's for sure. That is for sure. We had a Carl Albert person, won't tell you who it is, said that Guthrie was a better team that night. But Carl Albert won it, so they won it. And Carl Albert, 16 penalties on that night, so didn't play their best. But a lot of credit for both teams. Billy over on TikTok. I've watched Carl Albert for 4 years and haven't seen anyone match their speed till Guthrie. Yeah, no, that's so. When I look at 5A football, and obviously, if you don't pick Carl Albert to win it, then you're really a fan of somebody. And I live here in Guthrie. I'm a huge Guthrie fan. Graduated Guthrie. My kids go to Guthrie. My wife went to Guthrie. Graduated from Guthrie. We were all born here. All the things Guthrie. And you have to go with Carl Albert until proven otherwise. But I think there are 3 teams. I think there are 3 teams who would have a shot to beat Carl Albert this year. I think there's 3 teams, only 3 teams that can do this. Guthrie, Pryor, Del City, maybe. Pryor, Guthrie, I know they can if it all came together. Carl Albert's going to be favored in every single game, but Pryor, Guthrie, Del City, maybe. Any given day, you never know. K-Dizzle is going with McAllister 35-7 over Collinsville. That would be not surprising that McAllister would win, but by that score, that would be really surprising. Oh, he went 35-17. Okay, that's in the ballpark. Billy P., you aren't biased when you hit the nail on the head. Thanks for what you do. Oh, thank you, Billy. Appreciate that. McAllister 27, Carl Albert 24. Wow. That would be huge. I've gotten to watch. I saw McAllister Booker T on the road too, and K Dizzle. I got McAllister 45, Pryor 40. So you got Pryor scoring 40. I think I got a note on this. I did some Pryor stuff here. Okay, listen. So K Dizzle goes McAllister 45, Pryor 40. Check out this stat. Pryor has scored 50 or more points in 7 of their games this year. 50 plus points. Now, 584. Not, and take that back. Pryor beat Sallisaw to begin the season. So Pryor, Del City, Claremore, Collinsville. I mean, not a bad schedule there. So, but that would be crazy, K Dizzle. That would be extremely crazy. All right, go back to my friends over here. Laminga goes. Oh, Laminga is opposite of Grant Oliver. 5A4 will sweep. Laminga and Grant agree. 5A4 will sweep 5A3. Well, you guys are seeing something a little bit. Booker T, I've been burned every time on them. I have a hard time picking them on anything. I like Del City. Claremore can beat Coweta. I'm not doubting that one bit. Coweta's 9-1. Brock Hillman, the running back. Let's real quick. Do me a favor here. Let's see here. Let's look at Coweta real quick and see what they've done this year. Wagner, they're in the playoffs. Wagner in the playoffs for the 21st consecutive year. Don't know anything about the Arkansas schools. Beat McAllister. That's a good victory. Beat Kelly. Beat Shawnee. Edison Prep. Lost to Booker T. Washington 38-20. And so when I say Coweta, now let me look at Claremore. Claremore 7-3 on the year. Bartlesville, Oologah, Hilldale. Hilldale's in. Bartlesville's in the playoffs. Tahlequah held. Lost to Pryor by 31. Lost to Collinsville by 24. Lost to Del City by 45. I'm sticking with Coweta. And if Guthrie, a little side note for me, if Guthrie can find a way to get past McGinnis, our production crew, our broadcast team is on the road at either Coweta or Claremore. And if it comes down to press box, I'm rooting for Claremore. We were there last year. Our crew got to do the 6A1 state semifinal broadcast. And Claremore was one of the best welcoming schools we've ever been to. They do a good job over there at Claremore. So if Guthrie can win, I wouldn't mind Claremore winning because of the press box. They have a really good press box. But I think Coweta might be the better team in that one. But that's just an opinion. We get to see it on the field. So that's really, really cool. Grant over, what will Duncan be ranked if we pull the upset of the century off? I think you can get to number 10. No. Duncan would be in the top 10. That would be a story. I'm ready to put those two helmets together, Grant Duncan and Carl Albert on the desk together. That'd be fun. Phil Nichols up late tonight. And I can't put his comment on the screen. My stream deck's not working tonight, guys, so no comments on the screen. Del City quarterback and 2 other starters did not play against Pryor. Del City is now playing 2 quarterbacks, Simmons and Sincere Overton. So they're trying to figure something out at the quarterback spot. Caleb Blackwolf, Rickland Holmes, really, really good. And I can tell you, Del City's offensive line and defensive lines are not that bad. They're pretty good. I watched them against Pryor. But yeah, they're good. Chris Frost, what do you think about Broken Bow versus Tuttle in the 4A semifinals? So, we're going to look at these brackets here in a little bit. My brother worked hard on these brackets, so I'm going to show them off here to you a little bit. TikTok folks probably won't look good on your screen, but for my Facebook and YouTube, it'll look good on your screen. So, what was that one more time? Broken Bow, Tuttle. Broken Bow, Wagner, yes. Broken Bow, Weatherford, yes. Broken Bow's there. Tuttle over Clinton. Tuttle. So, when you look at 4A, Grove and Sallisaw is a tremendous first-round matchup. Ada and Fort Gibson is a tremendous first-round matchup. Those are great games. And then those two teams are from 4A4, District 4. I think it's Tuttle and Broken Bow, and that will be a fantastic game. So in Class 4A, all we have, a lot of people, rightfully so, have talked Tuttle, Elgin, Tuttle. It's last year's state championship game. Elgin win that game 29-22. But 4A District 4, those teams in there are really, really good. Cushing is good this year. Fort Gibson has been good this year. So if I were to predict it right now, nothing's official till Wednesday night on the High School Huddle. I like Tuttle, Broken Bow, but Tuttle's going to have to go through Grove or Salisal. They should be okay, but that's a tough second round matchup. If you're Tuttle, Tuttle's got to show up. When's the last time Tuttle was in a fourth quarter ball game, state championship game? So they better, if they get that far in the fourth quarter, got to remember how to win football games. Same thing with Elgin. It's been a while since you've been in a tough game. You better remember how to do it. I think you will, but you got to make sure in case it's a tight ball game to remember how you did it. So Elgin, I think, would play Ada in a second round playoff game. Ada's been in the top 5. I think they might have got out once, but for the most part of the year, Broken Bow and Ada have been number 3, a good part of the 4A4 or 4A rankings. They're really, really darn good. So Elgin and Tuttle is not going to just show up and win those games. Now, Elgin would have Ada at home. That's a benefit. Tuttle would have Broken Bow in a neutral field. But I think the team that could make some noise that probably not talking about, maybe they are. I don't know. I haven't seen much. Cushing Tigers. They got Hilldale. You think Cushing rather play Hilldale or Podo? I guarantee they'd rather play Hilldale. They might not admit that, but Podo it's just Hilldale beat them by 2 scores, though. They deserve it. I'm not taking anything away from Hilldale, trust me. But that's just crazy town. But Cushing would have to beat Hilldale at home, and then Ardmore or Elk City would be going to Cushing. Ardmore, a good, much improved team, very, very good team. Elk City, I don't think they're quite there yet. So Cushing, all they have to do, they would have to beat Hilldale and Ardmore to get to the state semifinals. Coach Morgan has done a good job. Kellen Fry over there. I'm forgetting the other young man's name. I did this last time on the show. I do want to get his name on here real quick, so stand by. Kellen Fry. They got a lot of players that go on both sides of the football. Kellen Fry is a stud. He can play linebacker for any school in the state of Oklahoma. He is that good. Cushing. Anybody know who his name is? No, not yet. Okay. Let's see here. I do this every time. I need to write down. I need to get my Cushing notes together. I want to give him props though. Roman Tucker. Goodness gracious. Yes, Roman Tucker and Kellen Fry. Coach Morgan. They're really, really, really good. I like them. I got them in the state semifinals. Jordan Duncan would be ranked over Bixby if that happens. That's a good comment. I was told that today about Del City. What was Phil's comment? I remember Del City. What did Phil say about Del City? There's so many comments I can't keep up with them. Maybe page 2 out of the 4. Del City quarterback and 2 other starters did not play against Pryor. Okay. Del City quarterback. Okay, so I think Simmons and Sincere Overton played. I watched that game today, and I know both quarterbacks played against Pryor. I don't know about any other starters out, but I know I saw Simmons, and I almost darn sure I heard Overton in there as well. Simmons definitely started, but I think Overton, I watched the end of the fourth quarter. I'm almost certain I heard Overton, but nothing guaranteed, so. Okay, so I'm keeping on comments. Laminga says their quarterback definitely played. Yeah, I agree, Laminga. I saw the same thing. Dark Wolf, Dale City played both. Okay, so they've already been. Everyone's already watched this. I'm sorry, I'm catching up on comments. Chris Devine says, I doubt Duncan would be ranked over Bixby. No. So before I go to the comments, why it's on my mind, I do want to throw this out. I don't know if anyone saw this, but Bixby breaks the scoring record in Oklahoma for most points scored in the regular season. They scored 654 points this year, and they broke their own record from 2022. Average score this year for Bixby Spartans, 65-12. And I thought, look at the Bixby schedule. Played Jinx, Owasso, Choctaw, and Sand Springs. Obviously, they played 6 other teams as well. And won those games, but those are 4 good, Sand Springs district champions, Choctaw defending state champions, Jinx, we know about Jinx, we know about Owasso, so congrats to Bixby on that state record. 654 points this year. In 2022, they scored 644 points. I think they beat Norman like 70-3 or 72-3 to revenge their loss last year in week 10. So I think Bixby was a little grumpy that game last week. All right. T-Fred going after Phil again. Phil has the ultimate plan worked out there. Justin McKinney, my McAllister Buffalo buddy. I agree with you on 2-2 pick and 5A3, 5A4 matchup. All right. I always have a challenge with Grant every week, so this is the week. This is another challenge, so that'll be fun. Chris Devine, Coweta Facility Psych. Okay. I don't think I've ever been there for a football field. I know they got turf several years ago, but that just maybe I root for Claremore for that reason there. Chris Ross, it seems like Dale City would like to get Carl Albert Monkey off their back. I think a lot of people would like to get the Carl Albert Monkey off their back. Guthrie's lost 10 games in a row against Carl Albert, so you know that's true. Tuttle is legit. Broken Bow and Tuttle is where could be an upset. Yep. Broken Bow is very capable of beating Tuttle and Elgin. There's no doubt. There is no doubt. Ada, I think Ada has a possibility as well. I think Broken Bow's better of those 3. Broken Bow's got a great quarterback. He's a Division I kid, just an outstanding kid. Laminga 4A4 sweeps 4A3. Laminga, Grant are best friends tonight. Cushing may win, but I'm going for the fences. I think Cushing beats Hilldale, and I think they beat Ardmore. Jordan, did you see the lights going out at the cashing game? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit ago. Tie ball game, lights go out, transformer blows. Let's go to Crescent. And if I was Crescent, I think my brother said it on the road. I can't remember where he said that at. He goes, Crescent should charge gate to get into the game. Crescent and Cashton are kind of rivals, but big thank you to Crescent for letting them in there. So real quick on TikToks. Del City, K Dizzle's got Del City Booker T 48-16. I don't know. I mean, I can see Del City. I'm picking Del City to win that game, but 32 points is a lot in the 5A game, especially the 2 versus 3. K Dizzle, Fort Gibson 50-31. I don't know about that. Oh, Jillian had it. Roman Tucker in the comments. You beat me to it. Thank you, Roman. Could Cushing beat Tuttle? No, I don't think so. That would be a state championship game if that were to happen. So if you have Cushing in the state championship, you have Cushing beating Hilldale, Cushing beating Ardmore, Cushing beating Elgin, and then playing Tuttle. That would be, I love me some Cushing Tigers, but that would be a run of all runs, except for Duncan beating Carl Albert, of course. Cushing on the other side of the... Okay, you guys answer. Does Owasso beat Jinx in the semifinals? That's a good question. When you look at 6A football, 6A1, it was big for... Who was it? It was big for Memorial to beat Union this past week, 16-10. I got one note on Memorial. Nick Booker, 27 rushes, 220 yards, and 2 touchdowns as Memorial gets the victory over Union. Good thing for them because they'll play Edmond North first round. Easy victory there. Now, they would have to play Jinx in the second round, but it's better than playing Bixby in the second round. Still going to be a tough game for Edmond Memorial. as they finish the year 7-3. I'll give you guys a sneak peek of what I will talk a little bit about on Wednesday night about Edmond Memorial. So you look at that senior class for Edmond Memorial, their freshman and sophomore years combined, they were 7-14. Now their junior and senior years, they're 16-6, and really should be 17-5. They let a 3-touchdown lead go away in the fourth quarter against Norman North. You know they're kicking themselves on that one. 8-2, and I would have to look at the district standings if that cost them a home playoff game or not. Let me look that up, because that would be, not to add salt to the wound there for Edmond Memorial. 8-2. No, they would still finish third because Broken Arrow beat them earlier. So good thing that does help Memorial. That's okay. It didn't cost you a home playoff game. Stillwater wins 6A Division II. So I think Piedmont beating Stillwater was the best thing that could happen to 6A2 football, because it now adds another team that could possibly win it in Piedmont. It'd be a good run for Piedmont to do that. Never say never. I won't have them winning a state championship. In fact, I don't even have Piedmont getting to the state semifinals. I think, and I don't know, I mentioned Sand Springs earlier. This is their year. If they can't do it this year, not that they can't come back, they will. They're a good program. Coach Bobby Klink does a really, really good job. But man, Dom Forbes is a junior wide receiver. Easton Webb is a senior quarterback. They haven't won a title since '66. If they can't get it done this year, this is the year for Sand Springs. It has to be the year for them. They would have to get by Piedmont to get to the semifinals, and then you're looking at a Pump City semifinal game. If you can get past Pump City, who's very good, Pump City very capable of winning a state championship. I think Stillwater cruises to the semis. They're going to beat Ponca or Southmore fairly easy. Sapulpa gets the bye. They lose to Sand Springs 35-18. Choctaw plays Pump City North. I got Choctaw going to the state semifinals. I think Choctaw beats PC North. I think they beat Sapulpa to put Choctaw in the state semifinals against Stillwater. That game, what was that earlier? 21-14 ball game. Stillwater won that game back on October 16th. I can go back and forth. Choctaw so athletic on both sides of the football. It's a pick'em game. Stillwater Choctaw. You can't say either one's going to win. No one would have no idea who's going to win that game. You can say you do, but no one knows that game. So that's going to be, I think, a great semifinal. I know 6A2 has been down this year, but we'll have a fantastic. Are there any good first round games? Choctaw, PC North, no. Piedmont, Bartlesville, probably not. Muskogee, Northwest Classen, no. I guess the best first round playoff game would be Ponca City, Southmore. Piedmont, Bartlesville could be interesting, I suppose, but it really looks like a Sand Springs, Pump City, Sapulpa, Stillwater semifinals. All the teams that have byes this week. But we've been surprised a few times in 6A2. We've had multiple teams at the number one spot this year in 6A2. Darkwood, Pryor, O&D lines looked impressive. Yep, and I watched them closely because they play both ways. And so I was interested to see how and they did. I mean, they got stronger as the game went on. So give them credit. That's the one thing I was kind of trying to find a weakness, but they held their own. Good point, Dark Wolf. Jordan, did you see the lights when the cashing in? We talked about that. Chris, that was good to hear another McAllister person around here. Your broadcast is growing. Well deserved. Thank you, Chris. Chris, thank you for sharing the High School Huddle stuff as well on social media. Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. And we get to say it again though on Wednesday night. Last Wednesday show was the most viewed show of all time for the High School Huddle. So thank you for that. Got some cool things I think working in the works for the High School Huddle moving forward. So stay tuned to that. We're still trying to get them all worked out though. Chris Devine, Bixby's Connor Aaron, tight end, defensive end, sophomore, has offers from Alabama, Tennessee, West Virginia, Purdue, and Nebraska. Just a sophomore as well. They got quite a few players. I think, if I remember right, they have like 3 of the top 10 players in the state this year. So, Chris Frost, as an Elgin fan, I'm not sad the Broken Bow is on the other side of the bracket. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they're way down in Southeast Oklahoma. They will travel well. They have a really, really, really good fan base. Del City will stomp Booker T, Laminga says. I don't know about that one. I like Del City. Would I be surprised? A little bit. Laminga, what do you have, Tuttle versus Elgin, Chris? Yeah, I think so. We talked about the game so daggum much. I think as a fan, Tuttle Elgin would be the showdown. Broken Bow, Ada have other things in mind. I think it's Elgin, Ada, Tuttle, and Broken Bow. I think it's really one of those four teams with Cushing on the outside. Grant, when do we get to see these cool looking brackets? Bedtime. Oh, yes. Let's see how much time we got. Our TikTokers, less than 10 minutes for TikTok. Almost night time for you TikTokers. We have to end it for TikTok before an hour, or you have to edit some of it out. So if you're on TikTok, head over to Facebook or YouTube. I don't see any comments on Facebook. Hopefully I got their stuff turned on right. Okay, brackets coming up here in a second. Laminga agrees. Does Adair win 2A2? If you ask me, Junk Exchange, look at the bracket. We'll get that in a second. Adair's impressive. Darkwood. Yes, I love me some Adair. I've had Adair number 1 for a long time. I think some people still don't have Adair number 1. I think they're catching up with them, though. I think Adair has a great shot. They're good. 2A2, way watered down, so good they shot they could. Yep. I keep getting these break reminders on YouTube. I don't have no idea what break time means on YouTube. Okay, let me make sure my TikTokers don't have anything real quick. More questions on it. Tallahena wins state. I like Tallahena and I do like Vian. Okay, let's look at these brackets. It's gonna be ugly for you TikTokers, so I apologize ahead of time. So, okay, these brackets. My brother worked hard on these brackets. He got into a little graphic design. So here are these 6A1 brackets. So again, it's ugly TikTok. I apologize. So I don't know what, but something tells me Union's beating Norman. Something tells me Union's beating Norman this week. But I like Bixby, no matter if it's Union or Norman. I like Mustang. Remember, obviously Broken Arrow is going to get passed by this week, we certainly think. It could be a tough test, just like that Duncan Carl Albert contest. Remember, Mustang and Broken Arrow played earlier this year, and it was Broken Arrow beating Mustang by a touchdown, but quarterback Jaden O'Neill from Mustang did not play in that ball game. Deer Creek, UConn, I think UConn should win that ball game. And then Owasso is going to beat no matter who it is. Owasso is going to win that game. Edmond Memorial is going to get past Edmond North fairly easy. And that sets up Edmond Memorial and Jinx, two teams that made the state semifinals last year. Memorial got beat by Bixby. Jinx got beat by Owasso. So one of those teams would be in the state finals. I think it's Jinx in the state championship against Bixby. And I just think Bixby's in their own world. If anybody can beat Bixby, I would say Jinx, Oklahoma. But Mustang said, hey, we played Bixby 38-22, and I think Bixby's locker room is going to hear, man, Mustang might have a chance. And I think that would just fuel Bixby. I think Bixby would roll big in that ball game if it comes true. That's just an early pick, nothing confirmed yet, but I like Bixby. 6A2 football, there's that bracket there. Stillwater, Sapulpa, Sand Springs, and Pump City. I like Stillwater, Sand Springs, and Pump City to get to the state semifinals. I think Choctaw gets it done and gets to the state semifinals in 6A2. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Get this off of my comments. Cancel. Grant Oliver comparing us to Buy, harsh, no faith. You know I got a lot of love for the Demons. Class 5A football, there it is. There it is. I think Lawton Mack, Carl Albert, and Pryor had pretty good victories. After that, you have 5 games that are toss-ups, or 5 games that could go either way. I think everyone's kind of 50-50 on Del City Booker T. Guthrie McGinnis, that's been a good series over the years. McGinnis has maybe won more than they've lost. Let me look at it here real quick as you guys look at the roster. Guthrie and Bishop McGinnis. Gosh, type it in there. So Guthrie won the 2023 meeting. So they split the last two meetings. Guthrie's won the last 2 out of 3, but from 2015 to 2020, Bishop McGinnis won all those ball games. So that's the bracket right there. That's a fun 5A bracket. I think Pryor gets it to the semis. I think Carl Albert gets it to the semis. Boy, Del City, Booker T, or Lawton Mac, any one of those 3 teams can make it to the state semifinals. If I had to pick that one, I would say Del City. Booker T and Lawton Mac, I'm horrible at picking your games. You don't want me to pick them because I'm not going to be picking you to win those games. So that tells me Del City is in the state semifinal game. Not to be a homer, but I think Guthrie, if they can get past McGinnis, remember Guthrie had that pretty tough test last year. Guthrie had to go through Lawton MacArthur. They had to go through Booker T. Washington on the road, had to beat Newcastle in a semifinal game. So Guthrie's been there and done that with this team. So Guthrie, very capable of getting to the state semifinals. Del City took it to Guthrie a couple of years ago in a playoff game. So, again, that is the 5A bracket. Who do you have winning between Newcastle and Altus? That's I keep going back and forth. I think Newcastle's running game is a difference in there. I think they can run the football and maybe keep the talented freshman quarterback on the sideline a little bit longer. Don't want to get, if you're Newcastle, do not get in a shootout with them. If you get in a shootout, Altus is winning that game. So, Cushing has no making it to the state loan semifinals. Yeah, well, let's get to 4A right now. So there's that bracket for 4A. I think Cushing would be a favorite over Hilldale, and I think Cushing would be a favorite either over Ardmore or Elk City. I think Ardmore would be the tougher contest for Cushing, but I could see Ardmore beating Cushing, but I think Cushing is the better team. Anything can happen on any given night, but I think Cushing in a 10-game regular season is the better team this season. There you see the potential Elgin and Ada. Ada's got to show up and beat Fort Gibson. That is not a hammy, so a guaranteed win for them. So if you're Ada, you better come to play at home against Fort Gibson, or you could be upset. Elgin, no issues with Bethany. There's that Tuttle Clinton. I understand Clinton might be trying to maybe get that appeal overturned. Grove and Sallisaw is a fantastic first-round matchup. In fact, that's one of the best games in the state of Oklahoma right there is Grove and Sallisaw. Broken Bow should be okay against Wagner, and they should be okay either against Weatherford or Blanchard. I would favor Weatherford in that game. We had a lot of people. Let's see here. It's Flexi. Clinton was robbed of their playoff spot. Yeah, I guess we'll find out with that maybe. Hopefully, I don't know what the decision will be, but that decision has to be made tomorrow simply because these teams need to get ready to play their opponent. And if you have a switch, it's going to be hard just to get that switched over there, especially after to rule somebody out of that 2 down to the number 4 spot. You have to be certain that's the truth. So the overturn is going to be really, really hard to pull off. I'm not saying it can't be reversed. We've seen things reversed, but that has to happen fast because teams got to get their game plans in and got to practice against those teams. So that would be tough. Yeah, Grant, I was thinking that exact same thing. When I heard that they were maybe appealing, I was like, didn't they turn themselves in? They're appealing their own decision. So that tells me I don't think the odds tell me nothing's getting changed there. I thought the exact same thing. I'm glad someone else reminds me of that. So here reminds me of my senior when Guthrie got it reversed and screwed me. Oh, yep. The OSA staff said no. And the board of directors said yes. All right, 3A bracket. Heritage Hall and Lincoln Christian looking like they will head for a state semifinal rematch once again. Lincoln Christian. Oh, by the way, Jay beat Vanita 20-18. Jay was down. Jay had a 4-game losing streak, overcame a 9-point deficit in the fourth quarter to win the game and a playoff spot. Congratulations, Jay Bulldogs. You now get to play the Lincoln Christian Bulldogs. Lone Grove Kingfisher is in an interesting matchup. I like Lone Grove. They had beat Perkins earlier this year, but that's an interesting first-round matchup. I think it's Lincoln Christian and Heritage Hall. I won't say guarantee, but it's almost close to a guarantee. And that probably is the jinx of all jinx. Sulphur, I think Sulphur has a pretty good shot getting to the state semifinals. Holland Hall, when they played some good teams, they had been beaten. But Holland Hall Bear Hill would be a great first round. But I really like Sulphur getting to the state semifinals. Plainview lost their quarterback a couple weeks ago. He's out for the season. Perkins has had some good wins. They've had a loss. Like, oh, where did that come from? So I like Perkins. I like Cassia Hall. I really like Sulphur. Sulphur got a great draw like they did last year. Heritage Hall and Lincoln Christian on the other side. They'll take this bracket every single year. Grant, I heard it was like a third-string freshman kicker or something. Oh, I hope that's not true. Ugh, I hope that's not true. 2A1 football bracket. Jones, Sequoia Tahlequah. So Sequoia Tahlequah loses their first game of the year. Metro Christian beat them for the first loss. Sequoia Tahlequah, not the toughest schedules this year, but Metro gets that victory. What was that victory? It was 27-18. 27-18. I like Jones and I like Marlowe to get to the state semifinals. Kingston should give Marlowe a pretty good challenge, but I like Marlowe. I think Grant Oliver is going with Marlowe as well to get to the state semifinals. In fact, Grant might be picking Marlowe to win the state championship. But I think Jones and Marlowe are your state semifinal teams. Washington, they lose one game, and it was the Sulphur. Washington is good, and I think Metro Christian is good. But I see Washington. I think Washington got on the good side of the bracket. I have Metro Christian number 1. You can have Washington number 1 and Jones number 1. I would totally agree with you. But Washington I think would have an advantage in that ball game against Metro Christian. Metro Christian throws the ball well. Kincaid Ing is a good player, but Washington, they lost a lot of players last year. They have a young team. They did have some transfers come in, so that does help them. But Jones is 10-0 for the first time since 2017. Marlowe always plays Washington within a touchdown, it seems like every single year. Jones has a very exciting offense with Ace and Hansen. So I think it's Jones, Marlowe, Washington. I think one of those teams wins the state championship. Flexi Chandler's going to state. I don't think Chandler can get past the first round in Kiefer. They ain't getting past Washington either. So the thing with Chandler, I think they're like 23, 22 players. They don't have very many players out. With injuries and all that stuff that has added up. So Jones State winners, I can see it. Yep, I can see it. Remember they had that run in 17, 16, and 15? Kind of feels like that a little bit as well. Let's see here. 2A2 bracket. We've had a lot of questions on 2A2. This is another fun bracket here. I really like Stroud. TikTok doesn't like these graphics. I like Stroud. Valiant loses their first game last week to Vian. Vian was dominant. Valiant, I went from number 3 down to number 8. Adair, I think they will be challenged in their second round. Wilburton's had a good year. But I think Adair will be challenged in the second round, but I really like the Warriors to get to the state semifinals. Adair and Stroud is a big-time matchup if that does fall into place. I would pick Adair to win that game, but Stroud has a team that can win state this year. Of course, Davis did do it last year. Salina is a team that's on the rise. Coach Harmon has won 2 state championships at 2 other small schools, so he has that DNA to win it. I don't know if the team can do it this year. Adair took it to him earlier this year, but I like Davis in a state semifinal. I think Dibbles had a good season. They beat Davis in overtime. Hennessy has had some good wins. Congratulations to Keys. They're in the playoffs. That's usually been called Cord in that playoff, but this year it's Keys. But I think Vian gets to the state semifinal. Davis, Vian, state semifinal. Stroud, Adair, 4 really, really good ball teams. if I were to pick it right now, again, nothing official till later, I would have Adair and Davis in the state championship. In that game, when Adair has not been there in the state championship, Davis has. I would give them advantage in that game at UCO, but man, that'll be fun to watch. Here's this let's see real quick. Chris, don't pick Davis. Chris Frost, that's exactly right. Davis and I, we were all over the place last year. I pick them to win, they would lose. I would pick them to lose, they would win. So all you Davis fans, you don't want me to pick. Okay, you know what? Adair's going to the state championship. There you go. I think that might be the case, and plus it's opposite, so I can make everybody happy with that pick. Good call. Could Lincoln Christian win 4-5 or 6A2? Yeah, I think so. They could. Yeah, I think they could. They would definitely compete for it. Salina will get walked in the second round. I agree. Adair for the win. Okay. We're in the same neighborhood. Class A1. Here is the bracket. Boy, 5A bracket was fun. How about this bracket as well? Hobart at Fairview. Fairview will be okay there. Pacola and Pawnee. First round matchup. My, oh my. That is a big time matchup. Haskell versus Tonkawa. Cashin and Minko. Another great first round matchup. And then, boy, if you're Cashin or Minko, you have to play one of those games. Then you have to play Tonkawa and then maybe Fairview or Pacola or Pawnee just to get to the state championship. That left side of the bracket is absolutely loaded. But then you get to the other side of the bracket. Wynnewood, 10-0 this year. Pawhuska, top 5 team, a good part of the season. Rejoice Christian, my number 1 team all season long. They lost earlier this year to Cassia Hall, a Class 3A program, by 1 score, 21-14. Okafowizi is the wide receiver. Compton Nero is the quarterback there. Morrison will be a tough challenge, but I really like Rejoice in there. Hooker should be okay. Then you got Hooker, Rejoice. I got Rejoice going all the way to the state championship game. Pawhuska can score points, but I think Rejoice can keep up with them. So I got Rejoice Christian on this side. And I'm going to need Wednesday night to decide who's coming out on the left side of the bracket in A1 football. Flexi Hobart is going to get rocked. Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, and then the last bracket. Class A2, Mangum. Big victory a couple weeks ago over Thomas, hosting Wilson. Fairland beat Woodland this past week. Fairland gets a home playoff game for beating Woodland, the defending A2 state champions. Wowoka, though, is a good team. But Fairland's got some really good athletes. Their basketball team was in a state tournament last year, so things are going there. The Golden Tigers, Talihina, my number 1 team for a good part of the season. I think they have a pretty good path to the state championship. Hilton is a good team. I think they'll get past Texhoma. I think Talihina is just a little too much more for Hilton. But that will be a game that Talihina will be challenged in by Hilton. And then on the other side of the bracket, man, you look at Conowal, Southwest coming to Allen Woodland. Allen's had a really good year, and now they have to play Woodland, the very first game out in the playoffs. I think, boy, I like Woodland. I like Woodland to get to the state semifinals. I know that's not the same team they've had in the past. If it's not Woodland, I think Conowal can get it done. And this bottom half of the bracket is really good. Regent Prep had a good victory this past week. Hominy, that's my dark horse in this class right now. I like Hominy to beat Thomas Fay Custer to get to the state semifinals. I like Hominy in the state championship game against Talihina. If I had to pick it today, I would pick Talihina and Hominy in the state championship game. It would be a great game. It's too early to pick. We're going to do that on Wednesday night. So those are my thoughts. Those are the brackets. Kudos to my brother. He made those brackets. He's proud of those brackets, and they turned out really, really, really good. So I think I lost the TikTok people because I was not over there. I was more worried about my YouTuber folks. You folks on YouTube, you always get first dibs in comments. So just remember that. So Laminga said that's who I picked too as well. Flexi, I like to see Thomas do good, but I don't know how far they will. Yeah, I like rooting for Thomas too. I saw them in a state championship game a few years ago against Cashin. And I know they had a transfer in from Watonga, and the roofs are real popular over there. So, and I like their uniforms. They got really cool uniforms. So, yeah, I like Thomas Fay Custer as a whole. So, did Grant leave and not even say goodbye? Hobart's going to get rocked. Saw that earlier. Fairview rejoice. Junk exchange. Kudos to Fairview. They lose their best quarterback in school history, and they win the district championship the next year. So big kudos to Fairview. Fairview rejoice. Wasn't that, help me out, exchange, wasn't that a game that was played at Rejoice Christian last year in the second round or first round? It seems like that Rejoice beat somebody. I think it was Fairview. Was it? No? 2 years ago? It was somebody. I know Rejoice played somebody at home that I remember watching that game. Oh, well, I can't remember. Oh, good. There is our first Facebook comment. Thank you, Charlie. I think it's the first Facebook comment. Charlie, who's your favorite in Class A2 to win the state championship? That's the one we just went over. I hope you got to see that. Oh, Tony Wilson, late to the party. Tony, you got to get those notifications turned on, man. Talked about Chandler earlier, too. We talked about Stroud, too, Tony. Let's see here. A2. I won't have a pick. I think I have to pick it by Wednesday on Wednesday night's live show. But I'm going to go Talihina and Hominy in a championship game. Justin, my bedtime. I know I'm getting close to my bedtime, too. Thank you for your coverage. Enjoy listening. Go Buffs. Yep. McAllister, one of the hottest teams in the state of Oklahoma right now. They have won 6 in a row. And pretty good schedule in doing that as well, including a victory over Booker T. Washington. Watched that game a few weeks ago. And hopefully hopefully Justin's kid, I know he's playing, but is always getting in better shape health-wise as well. He's been good. So, Charlie, I mentioned earlier, I like Talihina. I think they have a pretty good path to the state semifinals. Hilton will, if they can play Talihina, would be a good challenge, but I think Talihina would have the advantage there. Fairland, victory over Woodland. Mangum with their quarterback Remington, I think is really good. I like Mangum. Boy, Mangum, Fairland, and Wovoka are pretty good ball clubs. All three of them are on that top side of the bracket. Fairland would have to go to Mangum. That's a home field advantage there. But Fairland can win that game. I would favor Mangum, but Fairland can definitely win that game. If you beat Woodland, you can win. So, but I like Mangum over there. And to be honest with you, the top right side of the bracket, I'll show it to you real quick. That top side of the bracket, Kanawha, Southwest Covenant, Allen, and Woodland. That's interesting one to me. Allen's had a very good season. To be honest with you, I've not seen a whole lot about Allen. I watched the scores, and they just kept winning, so I paid closer attention. I haven't been able to watch them. Woodland's obviously not the same team from last year's state championship team, but I just can't rule them out, especially out of these 4 teams. Something weird tells me that Woodland might come out of there. I don't know what it is, but Connell's been good all year as well, so I'd be interested in your thoughts on it as well. You might know a little bit more than I do on that. I don't pretend to know everything about all these classes. So if you have any insight from me, Charlie, I'd be glad to hear from it. Even if you're a player, you can still have your thoughts. That's okay. Or if you play for a school, if your son plays for a school, or Grant, I don't know who you are, Charlie. So don't worry, it's okay. Did you say Fairland to play Mangum? Yes. I have Fairland and Mangum. The Owls and Tigers. Courtney Matthews. Rejoice had a victory over Fairview 34-7 playoffs last year. Thank you, Courtney. My mind is still with me a little bit. I remember watching that game. I don't know why. I think it might have been the first. I think I know why. It's the first time I got to see Rejoice Christian's facilities. Now, I've driven by Rejoice Christian's facilities since last year's playoff game. I got to see them on video. Really, really nice facility. So thank you, Courtney, for the reminder. 339 miles, 5 hours, week 2. Would be Fairland Mangum, 5 hours. Yeah, you always, in week 2, You always get those cross bracket east-west, and those road trips. There's always interesting. Sometimes these schools in South Oklahoma have to go through Texas up to the Panhandle to play teams. That's always one of the cool things in week 2 of the playoffs is the drives down there. So, Charlie, my son plays for Talihina. Well, yeah, you guys are in good shape. The Tigers were there last year. Coach Gravitt, I mentioned this. I don't think I got my Talihina notes with me. So let me go off memory here. Coach Gravitt, the quarterback, also defensive back, not Remington. So you got the wide receivers. There's 2 or 3 of them. Amons is one of them. Oh my goodness, I don't have my notes with me. I apologize. Give me the quarterback's name because that's the one that matters. Charlie, help me out. I can look it up here in this publication as well, but I have Talihina notes, but I have Talihina notes at the studio, so they're not with me right now. Help me out. Landon Griffith. Thank you, Charlie. That's it. I watched them. I can't remember what game I watched them. It was either last week or the week before. Good. We got to see him last year. Coach Gravitt, man, I love listening to him talk to cameras. He does so good. Very inspirational guy, man. I can get behind him, no doubt. But I like Talihina. I've been riding Hominy all season long. Talihina's my number 1 team, but I've been saying Hominy is a team that can get in there. Hominy is a team that can get in there. Ryder, are you doing Class B and C? I don't have the brackets with me as far as on screen, but if you have a question on B and C, I'd be glad to talk B and C. We don't get a lot of requests, but that doesn't mean you ask. We can definitely talk about that. Only one team in Class B went undefeated, and that was Walika. And when I first started doing high school football statewide coverage, Walika with the Bencoma brothers were so good. It would have been about early 2000s in that range, but they've been so good over the years. But yeah, they're the only undefeated team in Class B football this year. And when you look at Class B1, Walika plays in B2. But when you look at B1 football, I love the Dewar Dragons. Braylon Lewis. Braylon Lewis. Saw him last year in the state championship games, and he is big time. And Dewar did lose 2 football games this year, somewhat very early against Walika and Silling. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I really like Dewar. They play in B1 football, and Laverne has been good year in and year out. But I like Dewar, and they beat Caddo, right? Caddo went 9-1 this year. I think that was the victory they lost. Caddo, this past week, 34-32. Don't rule out Caddo either in B1 football. Obviously, that could be another state championship, a game type there. Dewar and Caddo coming from the same district. Then you look at B2 football, Sealing. Sealing has been there and done that, not only on the football gridiron, but also in basketball. Really good in basketball. But Walika, defending state champions. Walika, undefeated team. So when you look at B2 football, and I really think Walika and Sealing have the best chance of winning a state championship in Class B football. Would you agree with that? Who asked me? Ryder. How about Gary and Timberlake? Now we're getting to Class C. Love the small school talk, and we can talk anything. We just haven't had a lot of questions about Class C, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it. Who did he ask? Was it Timberlake? Timberlake, I know Timberlake's 9-1 this year. Yeah, Gary versus Timberlake. Make sure I get this right. Timberlake. Yeah, so Timberlake, I think I would favor Timberlake over Gary. Was it Gary? I've been to Gary one time. Of course, they got the big wrestling tournament every year in Gary, Oklahoma. But I definitely like Timberlake. When you look at Class C football, let me see here. You know, the one thing I learned about Class C football, I had no idea about this, that Mountain View Godebo plays football. And they play really good football. They're 8-2. I know about basketball. Obviously, their football team looks like it might be better than their basketball team in years past anyway. But, Mountain View Godebo, 8-2 this year. Ryan, undefeated. They're going to be another team that will be tough in C football. Tony says, Chris, it appeared that you had an early morning. You certainly did. I covers, obviously have fun with the high school sports as a side job, but also I cover news in Logan County, Guthrie, and there was an overturned semi on I-35 near the Mulhall exit, Mulhall, Orlando, just across the Payne County, just across the Logan County line. And the accident, there was a tanker that wrecked on the highway and spilled 7,000 gallons of diesel on the road in the ditch. And the road, I-35 was closed for 15 hours and 9 minutes. They didn't open it up till after 6 o'clock today. How crazy is that? So they had to route traffic off the highway through Guthrie. So Guthrie, a lot of visitors in Guthrie. If the sales tax is up, if there's a lot of fuel being sold in Guthrie, that's because everybody had to drive through Guthrie to get off the highway. Charlie, going back to Tallahena, Emmons, and Lloyd, the dynamic dual receivers. Yeah, absolutely. I'm impressed with them. Tony, big win at Caddo. Don't forget quarterback Kilhofer. Yep, we've said his name many times last year and this year. Coach Manuel at Sealing is one of my faves. Tony Wilson says, yeah, absolutely. Sealing, wow. The thing with Sealing used to be, that's where Gary England's from. Man, that's where the Wildcats play athletics is where they're from. Charlie, could be Caddo, Dewar rematch in the championship. Absolutely could be. That was fun last year. Charlie, Dewar barely beat Caddo for the district title. Yes, I think that's right. 36-34. Let's see if my memory serves me right. Dewar 34-32. 34-32. I was close. The 2 points was in the area. Chris Frost, what was the talk about neutral sites and semis earlier this year? You know, Chris, I never did hear that. I think I saw it somewhere here, but I think now they can start. The OSSA can start thinking about where to have those semifinal games, but I don't think I heard anything. I can ask. I got a conference call tomorrow with the OSSAA, so I can maybe ask how that's looking as far as semi-neutral sites for all the classes. Usually, most there's a lot of like Western Heights, Southern Nazarene, Weatherford. There's always these sites that are more than accommodating. They want to host these games all the time, but there are a few that comes down to the last second that we need a place to go. So kind of like anything, some sites say, "Come on, let's play football here." Claremore last year was a gracious host for 6A1 football last semifinals. So, I'll ask about that tomorrow. Have an answer for you. But I don't remember anything this year about those talks. You might have to remind me if I forget. Tony Wilson, good season after starting 0-3. Flex, you're going to need a lot of help Friday at Tuttle. Clinton started off rocky, got things going. Dark Wolf, how many undefeated teams in the state? I have not done that homework. So we had 20 going into week 9. So you got, I don't know if I can go through all of them now. Bixby, Carl Albert, Pryor, Tuttle, Elgin, no one in 4A, 4, Cushing, Fort Gibson, 5. 3A, Lincoln Christian, Sulphur undefeated? I knew I shouldn't have done that. You asked a question that I just cannot say no to. I simply cannot say no to. So Bixby, Carl Albert, Pryor, no one in 6A2. Elgin, Tuttle, 5. 3A is Lincoln Christian, that's 6. Sulphur is 7. Jones is 8. Metro is 9. Adair is 10. Wynnewood, who had Wynnewood going undefeated? There's 11. Mangum, 12. That one might have got me, maybe. 13 for Talihina. I would have got that one. So 13 undefeated teams in 11-man football. Was there one in Class B? Was it Walika? Yep. So there's 14. In Class C, there was one. Ryan, 15. So 15 teams undefeated in the state of Oklahoma. Get all these questions in here. There's James. I think I might have missed this. Okay, James. Good to see James. I don't know why, but I feel like Altus and Newcastle will be a great game just because Altus was able to slow down Matthews, but got beat in the passing game. Yeah, but Carl Albert, that's 2 weeks in a row. They've thrown the football really well. Easton Collier, give him credit because I kind of questioned that. They had a tough Carl Albert played Stillwater earlier this year. Carl Albert won that game 28-19, and they went a lot of Wildcat with Elijah Matthews in short down situations. And I just, I don't know if Carl Albert can throw the football, but they threw the football well against Carl Albert. They got some tall receivers. Jackson Webster's also a good receiver for Carl Albert. But yeah, I think Newcastle and Altus will be a fantastic ball game. I said it earlier that Newcastle does not want to get into a score-a-thon with Altus. Altus would win that game. Newcastle, I think, would have an advantage with their running game. Their running back, Bradford, if he hasn't, I think he may have already have the school's rushing record. So that will be tough. If he can run the football and Newcastle can control the clock, that will go a long ways for them. Tony Killoffer had 30-plus tackles unofficially in that Cattle game. Yeah, feel like 50. Randy, hello, Randy. How many can make it a state game for sure? They best Fairland and Woodland with ease. Yeah, no. Randy, I don't know if you've been able to watch the High School Huddle on Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock. Hopefully you can and make comments. But, man, I've been telling you about the Hominy, and I know they got to go region prep. I think they'll be okay there. They'll have a tough second-round game. It's supposed to be tough with either Thomas or Ringland. I certainly think it would be Thomas. But, no, I think I've had a Hominy ranked number 3. But I really like them. I really like them, especially with the brackets now on that right side. I like. I think I said it earlier. I don't know if you were with me earlier, but I have Talihina and Hominy in the state championship game. I'll probably have to make a pick live on the Wednesday show. In fact, I know I will. So we'll definitely talk about that. I could be wrong though. I was wrong this past week picking Altus. You know what? That's okay. I mean, this is Altus' best team in some years. Give credit to Coach Reed and all that crew. It was the play of the year. Play of the year was in Altus, Oklahoma. We'll have that highlight of what it was, and we're working, hopefully, cross our fingers on an interview with the player of the game in that game. So we are working with Altus on a pretty cool interview Wednesday night on the High School Huddle. Hopefully we can get it. Charlie, what was your take on Hilton versus Texoma? Got to be honest with you, I have not been able to watch that game. I Pryor in Del City was a number one game that I had to watch. So I have not gotten to that one. Maybe hopefully I can get to that before Wednesday night show. Randy, how many can make it state? Yeah, we talked about that. Cattle was undefeated. No, I think didn't they just get beat? Tony. Yeah, they just got beat this past week. 34-32 to Dewar. Just got beat. Exchange 1 and 2A2, 1 and 6A1, 2 and 5A4. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 7. Metro Christian. Chris thought Phil maybe said neutral sites would go away sometime in the future, or maybe I'm just remembering wrong. Yeah, I'm thinking, Chris. I know it's been harder over the years, and then you add 3 new classes last year, but I don't know if it's been serious or not, but because they've always got them in there, but I don't know. I have to ask. I don't remember that. Cattle lost and Sequoia lost. Yes, Sequoia Tahlequah lost their first game to Metro. There was, what did I count? 13 earlier? I went through every one of them. 13 and 11 in all of high school football was 11. And 11 men football, 2. I can't remember what number it was. I'll have that stat for sure on Wednesday night. I usually do that on Mondays. Although I got a couple meetings tomorrow. Dark Wolf, do you guys think the show could have star guests and interviews with coaches and players next season or even in the playoffs this season? Yeah, Dark Wolf, that's so this show used to start on Wednesday nights. It used to be an hour, and now we've been going 2.5 hours, and our numbers continue to get more and more as the show goes on. And so we are definitely, I can tell you we will have Mark Rogers on Wednesday night show. So we're working on a special interview for the Altus play of the game. And we will definitely have Mark Rogers on the Wednesday night show. About the second segment, we'll have Mark Rogers on. We'll talk with him about that stuff. But yes, Dark, that is definitely a goal. Again, we're working on some stuff after football season for basketball and wrestling. But we're still working on what that looks like, as this has been a really fun season. But you're right. That was a goal this year with coaches and players. It just simply got busy with the show, and that's just something we got to make more time. I feel like we can go for 5 hours if we wanted to, but so we got to try to get that in there. So here's my thinking on the past of that. And Dark Wolf, I'm so glad you brought that up. Usually when we talk to coaches, we kind of get the coach talk, and you can almost predict what they're going to say, and which is okay because, but we need to have more coaches. I totally agree. We need to have more coaches. I like the ability like this to have you guys talk, because we obviously can't watch every single game. You guys have a lot of the insight, and so we learn a lot from this show with all your comments. And so that's the part that I take a lot from this show. From the show is the interaction and learning all these teams and players. So, but I agree, we do need to add that in there. Maybe if it's not on the Wednesday show, maybe it's interviews throughout the week, which we did that. We talked to Coach Dunn. We talked with Coach Reed and Coach Hayes. And I think only one of them was live on the Wednesday show. So need to do more of that. Need to do more. But you're right. Thank you. Thank you, Dark Wolf. Tony, Darius Wade, Chandler nominee for stats this week. 19 carries, 304 yards, 5 touchdowns. Wow. That's I've seen some big numbers. I got some big numbers written down, but I've not seen 304 yards on 19 carries. 304 divided by 19. 16 yards a pop. I say that's pretty good. I say that's good. I knew when I brought that up, Tony would be a comment away. Wow, Mark, I'm hurt. I was going to bring a helmet and pizza Wednesday. Well, Mark is not going to be in the studio. Mark will be via web. Junk went through there and counted 16 undefeated in the state. Chris, maybe the questions for the coaches come chosen by you from the live comments. Put a time limit on it. That could be interesting. I get to moderate a lot of, I guess they're political forums in the county. I do some stuff around the state as far as, I don't want to get into it with political forums, moderate forums. And we always like to have questions ahead of time on a piece of paper. That way we can go through them to make sure it's not an attack on somebody that's not fair to them. That's the only thing that makes me, there are tough questions that need to be asked, but maybe that's my political mind going there. I cover it, but I try not to get too far in it. I'm the guy in the middle. So, Tony Wilson, why not branch out and have a separate coaches show? Tony, my wife likes to see me, and I am gone. I got a county commissioner meeting Monday morning. I got a conference call tomorrow afternoon. Got a school board meeting tomorrow night. That's Monday. I still got to get homework. I tell you, the one thing that takes up all the time, a lot of time, is the social media stuff. Today, I was on a podcast for about an hour and a half with Keep It at 100. I had to do the top 10 yesterday, go through all those scores and think about that. Today, I recorded each class with the top 10 rankings. So, but I agree. For us to continue on, you guys are exactly right. Got to keep doing that. We've done coaches shows, Guthrie coaches shows in the past. Clan, do you get to watch the Colorado versus Altus game? If so, what's your favorite play moment of the game? Clan, I've not watched that game yet. So I got tagged in a video of a touchdown by Altus late in the ball game. And I can tell you guys, because you guys here on a Sunday night with me, coming up on the 11 o'clock hour, we are trying to get that young man who, I don't know his story, but it was obviously arranged before the game for the player for Altus. And I'm not sure what the background is with him, but he scored a 65-yard touchdown, and both Colorado and Altus were cheering for him. There was a big celebration. And so we are going to try to get him on the show Wednesday night. Hopefully, Coach Reed, if Coach Reed wants to be sitting with him, we can talk to both of them and just kind of talk about that moment. There's a cool video. I was able to get a separate video of that play late in the ball game from Carl Albert friend. And so it's a pretty cool angle of the entire situation. So that is our goal Wednesday. That would be early on in our show on Wednesday. But that would be my favorite play. Might be the play of the year. Charlie, I think we will see Mustang and Bixby in the semis. So, yeah, okay, full transparency here. Beginning of the football season, we recorded we did maybe 20, 25, 30 teams, preseason teams, and look at each schedule and did prediction. We looked at Broken Arrow, and I actually picked Broken Arrow to win the state championship simply because it's easy to pick Bixby. It's easy to pick Bixby. Now, that Bixby's going to win it. But I did pick Broken Arrow, and I truly felt like, and they are. Broken Arrow, this is the best start season they've had since 2019. So, and I think moving forward, Coach Hill is a fantastic coach. It's the state's largest schools. Their facilities are great. They got players already transferring in. Before Coach Hill, players were leaving Broken Arrow. So I think Broken Arrow has a really good chance moving forward to be one of, they're already up there, but I think they can possibly become elite, possibly. But with that being said, Mustang lost to Broken Arrow early this year. Was it 14-7? It was a 1-touchdown win for Broken Arrow, but Jaden O'Neal, the 4-star quarterback, did not play in that ball game, so that changes everything. That would be a great semifinal game. That would be a fantastic state semifinal game. Tony's talking about my wife wanting to see me more. Just get her Tracy Lawrence concert tickets. Delegate. Yeah, so the wife and I, the wife and I, we went to 3 straight Tracy Lawrence concerts. Tracy Lawrence is my all-time fave. 90s country. My favorite is 90s country music. My genre, I can go deep with anybody. Tony Wilson's up there. He's pretty elite in 90s country music as well. He was a DJ of one of 200,000 jobs Tony Wilson has ever had. But Tracy Lawrence is my dude, and he came to Oklahoma during the summer on a 3 straight day tour. So he was in Tulsa, Norman, and Pensacola. And that's where I got to see I went through Poto, I went through Gans, I went through Panama. Got to go through a lot of Eastern Oklahoma schools and check out their facilities. And each night, it was 3 nights in a row of Tracy Lawrence, and my wife was getting more tired after each show, and I was getting stronger on each show. So I was second row from the front at the end over at Pensacola, and it was a big time concert. So I better digress. But we're about to get into some Tracy Lawrence talk here. So Chris Ross, you were putting more time in High School Huddle this year than last year. At least it seems so with all the extra video snip. Yeah, no, that's exactly right, Chris. I told myself I'm going all in this year. And hopefully it's been good. It feels like it's been very rewarding this year, but it has been a lot of work, especially all the, as you said, the extra video snips, going through the shows and snipping all that and putting it out there. I've gone all in and will continue that. So, but thank you for noticing. I don't know if hopefully it's been okay, but we're definitely all in on the High School Huddle. Productions, always a Wednesday night staple. Good to see him on Sunday night. Marlowe plays Mount St. Mary's first round. Yeah, Marlowe's going to roll on that one. Mount St. Mary's, good season. They had a really, really weak schedule. I wouldn't say weak schedule. Their schedule hasn't been very tough. Week's not very nice. Let's bring it back to the being nice here. Mount St. Then their schedule picked up and they lost to. Did they lose 3 games this year? I think they lost 3 games. All 3 of them. Good teams, and if I remember right, Mount St. Mary's Mount St. Mary's had a lot of transfers in this year. 7-3. So the victories: Community Christian, Oklahoma City Patriots, Cassidy didn't make the playoffs. Crooked Oak, Chisholm was a good victory. Perry, and then their losses: Millwood, Jones, and OCS. So the 3 best teams on their schedule, they lost to. But yeah, Marlowe's going to roll through that. Tony, that was freaking awesome. Hopefully he's talking about the Tracy Lawrence. T. Lawrence. Kelly Davis, I love the format. I watched this show because I like the interaction. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the interaction. That's what this show is all about, is the interactions. Totally agree. Did you see that one-handed catch in prior Dell City game before halftime? I absolutely did, Dark Wolf. And there's a couple angles of it, but the one on the end zone angle is really, really good. So that was a big time catch. I'm trying to remember where I saw it on the end zone was at. I need to go back and try to find that. That's one worth playing on the High School Huddle as well. So it was an outstanding catch. Tony wasn't wishing Mount St. Mary's a good season. Hey, J.D. Reynolds in his second season. Mount St. Mary's wasn't winning a whole lot of ball games before he showed up, so got to give him credit. And Mount St. Mary's plays the teams that are on their schedule, and they went out and won those games. So, Tony Wills, best edition is the Massey ranking spreads. I need my list. Tony, that is usually a Tuesday project, but now with the playoffs, it might be a little bit easier to get those. So I will try to work those in tomorrow. I always try to do everything ahead of time, like Guthrie Productions. Obviously the game's on Friday, That's usually the last couple of weeks been a Thursday deal. I need to get it done like Tuesday. That way I'm not being rushed at the end with all the graphics and all that stuff that comes with it. But yeah, I'll try to get that list to you tomorrow. Tony Wilson, Altus play was freaking awesome. You turned my invite to TL this past Thursday at Lawton. I did. Tony, I had to MC a master of ceremony. I don't know what I was. I had to MC a Guthrie Education Foundation fundraiser and had a good time with that. I got to help out my friend Brittany and play some music, a little singo. I got on the mic. I had to, I was singing. I was entertaining the folks. So I'm a horrible singer, a horrible dancer, but I can laugh at myself pretty easy. So everyone else was laughing. So it was a good time. Raised a lot of money for the Guthrie Education Foundation, which will help with teachers with grant money to get some cool projects that they normally wouldn't have a chance to get that done. Chris Ross, I thought Fort Sill was bombing. Just realized it's Chris Mike making the boom when it moves up or bumped. Oh, try not to touch it. Was I doing that? I might have been bumping it. Hey, the audio is a lot better than it is now than it was when we first started. Dark Wolf, how does show pick the pictures that go on the background for Wednesday night show? I've wondered since week 1. Good question, Dark Wolf. So every week we have a photo back there, and we've asked different photographers or people who know photographers, or if you happen to capture a good video or photo, to send it to us. You can contact on any of the social media by the direct messages, or our email is highschoolhuddle@gmail.com. And we've been able to showcase different photographers across the state. Kaya Calvert, Brett Tennyson, Hunter Shepard, the cool dude. Dustin has got us a couple photos from Adair. Blake Bill of Sulphur turned in a photo this year. We've had 7 photos, I think, turn in this year. 7 out of 10 weeks, maybe 8 out of 10. But if you have a photo that you want to share, send it to me, highschoolhuddle@gmail.com or Facebook. I'm not really good on the Instagram, I'm not going to lie. But I do see Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm learning TikTok. But the safest bet is Facebook or email or Twitter. Productions, Tony Wilson, I'm a fan from Marlowe, but thanks. Marlowe. So Marlowe got the Morgan kid. He's a OSU baseball commit. Also, football is pretty darn good with at the running back and linebacker. Is that right, Productions? I think that's right. Everyone's picking Marlowe. Chris, if you get more than one, I guess you could swap them for each segment. Could. Trying to think, that would be usually we only get 3 minutes during breaks. I would have to go over there and work, but yeah, could. I'd be willing to do that. I'm waiting to see if we're going to get any boxes delivered. There's only 2 schools that I think might be waiting to hear from. There's one over on the Tulsa side. Actually, there's 3 that we're maybe waiting on. 2 from the Tulsa side. I'm kind of excited about one. Hopefully it comes this before Wednesday show. That would be kind of cool. We're dominated with 5A schools. I'm telling you, 5A is the class that majority that all the good numbers are coming from are class 5A, which I think is fantastic. I love me some class 5A. And if you're just joining, we talked a lot of class 5A at the beginning of this show. So this just simply flies by this entire night. So, all right, we'll wrap this up. If you guys have any questions, Tony, let me know. Cut the live show and extend the huddle show. Cut the live show and extend the huddle. Oh, open mic. I'm thinking that's what you're talking about. So we do the high school huddle, and then before the high school huddle, we had another podcast. It's called Open Mic, and we still do it. But yeah, I think the guys are getting a little tired of the open mic just because the high school huddle has been going on 2.5 hours. So All right, if Dark Wolf is going to bed, then I need to go to bed as well. Got an 8:30 county commissioner meeting. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, it goes over 2 hours, and we always think it's going to be an hour 15, hour 20, but it just keeps going and going and going. Great questions. Learned a lot tonight, guys. Appreciate you. Don't forget, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, live show, High School Huddle. So at the beginning of the year, we always have our state championship picks before the start. And then we've made up a rule. Once the playoff starts, we can go back on one pick. So, like, I picked Bixby to win the state championship. No. I picked Broken Arrow to win the state championship. I picked Carl Albert to win the state championship. And all through the classes, I can go back on one pick, and so can Phil, and so can Ronnie. We can go back on one pick, only one, and which makes it interesting because then you can kind of decide which one you want to go with on that. So we'll have that. We will have Mark Rogers on Wednesday night show. We'll talk high school playoffs with him. We will hopefully have a special interview from Altus, Oklahoma, and a couple of cool video highlights of that one-handed catch in Pryor, Oklahoma as well. So, sometimes you get shakes and french fries. Yep, Tony delivers shakes and french fries from Brahms after our show one time. That was awesome. Awesome. So, all right, that'll do it, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and we will talk to you Wednesday night on the High School Huddle. See if this button works. It might not be any audio. Let's find out. Almost worked. How did we get this? Look for a black screen. Fade to black? No, I took it off. Let's go right here. That'll work. See you guys.